Hey guys, how's it going? Torsar here, back talking more sports. I think I'm going to be talking about sports today, at least someone within the sports world. It's Thursday, October 22nd, 2023, and there's some interesting storylines in the sports world. I saw, seemingly out of nowhere, Brock Purdy has entered concussion protocol for the 49ers. Kind of troublesome. And along with it, rumors of maybe the Shanahans pursuing Kirk Cousins. Dusty Baker retires after 26 years of managing. I think that's kind of newsworthy. And I knew I wanted to make a video today, and I was kind of trying to brainstorm for topics that people might be interested in, but a certain someone who's no longer even in the NBA right now took care of that for me, and that someone is Dwight Howard. Now, I would just like to preface anything I'm about to say with this. I fully support anyone and anything they do, especially behind closed doors, as long as you're not hurting other people. I don't care. You can be as straight as you want. You can be as gay as you want. You can be as trans as you want. You can be anything as much as you want if that's what makes you happy. The world needs more happy people. And even if it's something that most people would consider a little weird or a little goofy or kinky or any of those other words you want to describe, fine. Even if you want to bring it out within your community, you can make the choice of whether you want to pay attention to it or not. Because some people say, well, I don't want to see that kind of stuff. Well, unless they're really throwing it out there in your face, don't look. So that's why I think this is the unfortunate part of this. Now this is out. You can't put the tube back in the toothpaste bottle or the tube. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. This is out for the world to know. Whether Dwight Howard cares or not, I don't know. But I think, if anything, that's the unfortunate side of it. But, anyways, let me go over. I got the story keyed up right here. So let's go over to the story. Now, this is from the AP website to give credit where credit's due. Former NBA star Dwight Howard denies sexual assault lawsuit filed by a Georgia man. Dwight Howard has denied accusations by a Georgia man who says he was sexually assaulted by the former NBA star and another person. Stephen Harper filed a state civil suit against Howard in July alleging assault and battery, false imprisonment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The false imprisonment, I believe, is the bad one, if that's true. These are all alleged allegations. In a response filed this week by his attorney, Howard described the 2021 encounter at his home in the Atlanta suburbs as consensual and requested that the case be dismissed. Harper's lawsuit says he met Howard through Instagram and they exchanged explicit text messages before arranging to meet at Howard's home on July 19th, 2021. While on his way to the Gwinnett County residence, Harper says Howard texted him to ask if another man or woman could join their planned sexual encounter. Harper says he told Howard he was not interested. Probably should have been a red flag right there, but, I don't blame the guy. Dwight Howard's rich and famous, so, in his shoes, yeah, I probably would have continued on with the encounter. Once at Howard's home, Harper claims they were joined by a man dressed as a woman. This is where it gets a little weird. A man dressed as a woman who identified only as Kitty. Harper says he tried to resist the two men, but Howard and Kitty forced him to participate in sexual activity. And in case you don't know, I'm assuming just about everyone who's going to watch this knows Dwight Howard is a unit. He has shoulders the size of most people's heads. He is jacked, built. What does he go, like 6'10"? He's always been in really good shape. I'm sure even now he's in basketball shape. He could join a team, step on a court, which kind of made you wonder what was going on, but I'll get into that. Let me just finish the story, sorry. Mr. Harper was trapped in defendant's bedroom and believed that he would suffer imminent bodily harm if he resisted defendant's sexual advances. Sorry, guys, I forgot to turn my... I meant to do that. I extremely apologize, but I don't want to start over. It'll shut off in a second. There we go. If he resisted defendant's sexual advances, the lawsuit said. Afterward, Mr. Harper felt extremely violated and humiliated and was in complete shock. Extremely understandable if the allegations are true. Howard denied the allegations in his response, which says the three men agreed to engage in consensual sexual activity. He asked for a summary judgment with court costs and attorney fees to be assessed against Harper. The Associated Press does not typically identify people who say they have been victims of sexual assault unless they have agreed to be named publicly. The 37-year-old Howard was an 8-time All-Star, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and one of the NBA's most dominant centers during the prime of his 18-year professional career. He played for 7 franchises, most notably the Orlando Magic, who took him with the number 1 overall selection of the 2004 draft out of the Southwest Atlanta Christian Academy, and the Los Angeles Lakers, the team he was with for his lone NBA title during the pandemic-affected 2019-20 season. Howard had 3 different stints with the Lakers, including his 2021-2022, his last NBA season. He has career averages of 15.7 points and 11.8 rebounds per game, leading the league in rebounding 5 times. But Howard also had the reputation as being a disruptive presence in the locker room, not spending more than 1 season with the same team over his last 6 seasons in the league. Howard played in Taiwan during the 2022-2023 season. And that is the end of that. So, it kind of made you wonder why he had to play in Taiwan at the time to keep playing. The guy, even in the last half of his career, has always been a serviceable defensive unit. He wasn't obviously the same player he was back in the day, but his skill set was more transferable to having a longevity factor, because he did play very good defense. He was very good rebounding. Those skills will always be in demand in the NBA. There might not be as many of those types of players in the NBA anymore, guys who just are kind of lacking on the offensive end but can play really good defense and rebound the ball. But there's always room for at least a couple of those guys on a team, and you saw the effect he had in the bubble season. He was really good for the Lakers, not just in the bubble, but in that whole year. And the only reason it wasn't, they didn't get rid of him because of this at that time, because this incident hadn't even happened yet. So that would explain maybe why he wasn't on a team last year and this year. He wasn't the only one that the Lakers didn't retain after that run. What was it like? They didn't retain Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. They didn't retain Rondo. It's these guys that were integral pieces towards that bubble run. So that really didn't raise too many questions at the time. Now the thing, obviously he's probably done in the NBA. This is the type of thing where his level of worth has now sunken below his level of how much of a pain in the neck he's going to be. And you saw in the article, if you've been paying attention to the NBA at all, you know how much of a, locker room wrecker he was. Not really a locker room wrecker. I don't want to make it sound like the guy was like a Terrell Owens or, like a Dennis Rodman or something. But he was kind of a goofy character. He's always been really silly. And, there's always some guys who don't take to that too well. Kobe had a problem with Shaq. So now just thinking about pairing him and Dwight Howard just seems like, wow, that was desperation at its finest. That's teams, I equate this to whoever picks up James Harden now. That's gotta be a desperation move. I would, I, like, if I'm the Clippers, I'm not trying to get James Harden. Why are you being desperate? The guy's, he's gonna cause trouble. He's not gonna be worth it, in my opinion. Now, I'm not in the NBA. I don't coach a team. I'm not a general manager. And I don't have a personal relationship with James Harden. Some of these guys might. They might think it's fine. Who knows what's going on behind closed doors. But I think the unfortunate thing about this incident is that now it's out there. You're going to have a lot of people, making fun of him for being gay. If he even is gay, you don't know that. Maybe he's bisexual. Maybe he was just experimenting. Maybe there's just that one person. Maybe Kitty is just that one person who brought it out of him. You don't know. People, that happens. There's guys that are married their whole lives and they divorce their wives in their 50s and then they get a boyfriend. That's just the way life goes sometimes, and it's unfortunate, especially if he didn't want it out there. Like I said, now it's front and center. Now people are going to be talking about it. The sports world, especially men's sports, is also more unforgiving than the rest of normal society. I mean, yes, we have progressed, but in the end, how many gay players can you name that are openly gay in the NBA, in the NFL, in Major League Baseball, in the National Hockey League? You don't think there's more of them? You think there's only one guy in the NFL who's gay? Can you even name one openly gay NBA player? And there are some. And that's those guys' personal choice. They don't have to come out to be, martyrs for the gay cause if they don't want to. I can understand it would cause a lot of problems in the locker room probably, or even that just having that doubt or not wanting your teammates to wonder if you're like looking at them in the locker room or something. I would want to probably keep it to myself too. I hope also this doesn't affect any sort of. I mean, I'm sure, like I said, he's probably done in the NBA, so the clock's probably ticking on his retirement. And in 5 years, I would like to think, like Dwight Howard's a first ballot Hall of Famer, right? I would like to think it would stay that way. I mean, in my opinion, he is. I mean, you've heard the stats. He's an 8-time All-Star, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, Ben Wallace made the Hall of Fame, and I would think that while not having as much championship success in his career, at least as far as the fact he was just a role player when he won one, whereas Ben Wallace was the leading defensive anchor of that Pistons team. But either way, you would like to think, I mean, look back to when he was drafted. Remember when it was a question, and I'm saying this as the biggest UConn Huskies fan. Remember when there was actually a question between whether Orlando should take Dwight Howard or Emeka Okafor? And then to think Ben Gordon from UConn went third that year. And those two guys, Emeka Okafor, had injury problems and never amounted to what he could have been, which never would have been what Dwight Howard amounted to anyway. I mean, that was obviously the right choice. And Ben Gordon has had, unfortunately, mental health issues and was out of the league before he should have been. And man, looking back on that draft, that top three, they should have been, they kind of fell short in their potential. Even Dwight Howard, a lot of people say he never really, he could have been more if he had. I hate to question the guy's work ethic, but that's what happens when you like to do that goofy stuff and mess around. Even if you are working as hard as that guy who just is steel faced all the time, you're never going to get the credit for it. People are always going to question how hard you work, because they're going to think, well, how can you be working hard if you have the time to goof around? That's just the way some people deal with it. But anyway, what do you guys think? Is this something that you're just having fun with? Do you look at Dwight Howard differently now? I mean, me personally, I don't. I heard this and I was just like, well, it's kind of a weird story and it's unfortunate, and I hope the allegations aren't true, because if they are, then I will look differently on him. I'm not going to look differently just yet. I'm going to hold back, reserve my judgment, let the process, take its course. But anyway, like I said, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments if you got this far. Thank you. Till the next one, stay healthy. Peace.